Do, 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 do. Mm, mm. All right then. So guys, let's start with the uh, async module for our neovim plugin, which is help us to control the asynchronous behavior of various UV functions, like opening a file, creating some directory, renaming things, deleting things. So these are provided by neovim actually in the libuv directory, libuv module. But the problem is all the function uses callbacks. There is no built-in method in Lua in by which you can um, do some asynchronous programming. Like async and await syntax are not available by default in Lua, but there are some things that can be useful uh, for implementing those syntaxes. Not actually like the original syntax, because this is the language specific feature, but you can do some workaround to counter those callbacks thing. So what are we gonna do? We're gonna use coroutines, which are built into Lua and supported by neovim also. So we're gonna use the coroutines and implement some kind of a async await syntax so that we can perform our file system operation asynchronously without blocking the main CPU thread, right? So how are we gonna start those things? By the way, for those, if you don't know what this plugin is for, this is a file manager. By the way, you can read the whole README file and you will get a pretty much good understanding about what this plugin does and why it is implemented, right? So that's a quick introduction for this stream. So let's gonna start with the async module. First, I have to go to the what to say. Let me just do some. Wait a minute. Just give me a sec. All right. So now we can start. So let's launch up the tmux and hmm, statuses. So we have to go. Oh shoot. So nvim app name equals something. Yeah. And we have to disable the auto commands for the buff enter, right? Yeah. Is there any status in the coroutine things, right? Hmm. I'm gonna disable the whole thing, right? This thing and this thing. So it will not crash, right? So next thing, let's go to the auto commands and just uncomment those things. Right. So next thing we have to move on to the coroutine, async library actually. So there is a problem, right? So I think let me just remove the whole code. Right. Now, what we're gonna do is let's create a table and we're gonna return that. This is our asynchronous module, which have some functions, right? Which will be useful. Yeah, which will be useful when doing some asynchronous conversion from callback to async await syntax. So there you go. Now what we have to do is just um, create a function, right? An async function. So I'm going to do function m.async, and it will take up a function, right? Hmm. So whenever we run that function, okay. So whenever we run that function, certain things will be or executed automatically, right? So this is the async, right? So what it will do, I think it would return a function, right? And what about the await thing? Hmm. I mean, we can wrap those things as well, but this is not a good thing for now. First, I want to alias some things like local local cr is equals to coroutine, right? And the next thing is the async syntax, right? So there are a lot of ways to implement the async syntax. Mm, but what could be the minimalistic and easy to maintain? Just give me a second, and I'm just figuring out some things. Hmm. So we need two functions, right? One is async and another one is await syntax, right? So what async will do, let's just implement some prototype thing, and then you know, we will move on to some um, what to say. We will move on some complex syntax, right? Just start with the prototype thing, right? So this is the m.async, which will take a function, which is the asynchronous function. So async function, right? So this is the async function inside which we use await syntaxes, right? So what we're gonna do is we will do a um, we need a thread, right? And how are we gonna create a thread? with the coroutine.create function, in which we have this, async function, right? And we will resume that thread, right? So not require. So resume that thread, and we will not do anything like that, right? We will just resume that thread, nothing else. And there are some things in return, which is a success parameter. So success, right? Do we have any errors? I don't think so. So if not success, then we will print error. Unable to resume the coroutine, right? So this will be the error. There we go. Now, next thing is to implement the await function. In await, we have another function, right, which has to be awaited. So that function is called fn, and it will contain some variadic arguments, right? And what we will do on those variadic arguments, I think we have to suspend the thread until that function completes its task and runs fired up the callback function, right? So this is the thing we will gonna do. Okay, hi Zainab, welcome to the live stream. How are you, sir? It's not any specific things, but I'm kind of busy with so many things like meetings and so many project works. So I'm kind of busy in this week, but yeah, we are back. Anyways, we are just we are so close to complete this plugin. Actually, we are just implementing the async module, which can perform so many operations asynchronously, so that we will not block the main CPU thread while using the neovim, right? So, for example, if you are deleting a very nested and big directory with this plugin, then there's a high possibility that a neovim get freezed up, right? So I don't want to do those heavy file system operation on the main thread. So I want to use coroutines, which will separate those process in a different thread, and main thread will not get blocked by those processes. So yeah, neovim will not get freezed up. So this is kind of a good user experience, right? So this is kind of a motto for the stream. So there is one function async, and now I'm gonna implement the await syntax, right? So, well, these two functions are already implemented in plenary nvim, but I'm a curious developer and I want to know how those things works under the hood. So I'm going to implement my simple library for async things. Otherwise, these things are available and ready to use in plenary nvim, which is the dependency of telescope, also created by one of the most skilled developer, TJ DeVries. But for now, for simplicity purposes and for learning purposes, I'm gonna make it my own, right? So let's go. And what do we have to do with await syntax? So these are the args, right? So let's store those args in the args variable so that we can append a callback function which will invoke by this fn function, and we can return those arguments of the callback into the main thread, right? Okay. So what we're gonna do is table.insert args, and we will gonna append a function which also contains the periodic arguments. And in the periodic argument, what we're gonna do, we will do let's take a currently running thread by cr.running. So this will gives us a thread, right? So if not thread, then we will print an error, right? Um, so unable to no coroutine is running, right? If we unable to found any thread, then that simply means that um, there is no coroutine available at that moment. Thanks, Zainab. I appreciate that. So let's moving forward, and I think we can merge those two lines like this thing, right? It makes code more readable, right? Anyways, so we have a thread which is not a nil value, right? So now we can resume those things, right? So I'm gonna resume the coroutine with the, you know, with the thread that we just get, right? And we gonna provide all the values like the variadic arguments of this function, right? This is the callback function, which is get fired up by the async function that we awaited in the, in the coroutine, right? So the next thing is to yield that function. But before yielding, we have to run the function with unpacked list of arguments, right? And what we're going to do next is just to resume. No, not resume. We have to return the cr dot yield. We have to yield those coroutine. So what we are doing here, we are just collecting the arguments, inserting a callback function, and we run the awaited function, right? With the following arguments that given by the user, and we just appended our callback function, and we will suspend the thread, right? And that thread will get resumed when this callback function get fired up by this fn function, and those values provided from the callback function are returned from this await. So I think this will work. This will gonna work. Not sure, but let's find out. So how to test this thing? So I'm gonna test this thing by just running that async function in the current file, right? So let's try this thing out. We have to just read the content of a file, right? And which file? So I just want to read the content of the README file, right? So what we're gonna do is so let's just try to make a function which is an asynchronous function actually. So local function read file with a path. All right, so let's read the content of the file with fsRead function, right? So what we have to do is just, so we need an FD, right? So we need an FD. So how are we gonna get that FD? So let's, I think there is a function which is fsopen function, which will return an FD, right? So this is the function. Now we just have to go in the end, and there's a function which returns an error and the FD. Okay, so we don't need any error. We just need the FD. Oh wait, here we don't. Okay. Um, all right then. So we are awaited that function with the following arguments. And let's just try to inspect, I mean, let's just print the FD, right? So let's just do read file, right? Read file, let's do this thing. Let's execute that file and let's see what we get. No coroutine is running. What? Hmm. Why is this thing happening actually? No coroutine is running. That's kind of a bummer. Oh, got it. We have to extract the running coroutine before yielding the value, right? Okay, got it. Let's try to do that now. So clear the messages and we got the 45. I think this thing is working. So FD is also a integer value, right? So now what we're gonna do is uh, we will read the content. Well, let's just examine the function, which is the read. I mean, it's not read, it's fsRead function. So we need an FD, we need a size, right? Okay, so first we need a stats. So local stat is equals to m dot await uv dot fs open. Well, actually, let's give it a path, da quotation marks with a path, and let's do this thing, right? And this is fstat, and with fstat we have to provide the path. So this is the FD and this is the status. Now we just need the content. So let's examine the fsopen function. So flags and mode, right? No, not fsRead. So offset. I think offset is an optional thing. I don't know. And I'm not sure actually. So let's, by default, we will provide offset as, okay, this is the optional value. So we don't need to provide that thing. So, okay, so local content is equals to m dot await uv.fs read, and what do we have to do? We have to provide the fd and the size, which is the stat.size. And the next thing, I don't think that we need to provide anything else, but let's provide a 0 because we need to, the current working of this awaiting syntax is we are appending the callback function at the end. So if we not provide the 0 at the end, then this function might get break. So for safety purposes, I will provide a 0 here, right? And let's do the content thing. Actually, vim dot print. And there we go. We successfully read the content of the file, right? You can see this is the README file of this filer nvim. Perfect. There you go. You can see the whole file is there. Got it. So we successfully implement a async await syntax, right? The next thing, I want to improve some things in it, right? I want to improve some things like, can we do a, coroutine wrap something, right? So instead of resuming from here, I'm gonna do return cr.wrap this async function. So that's it. So this will resume the coroutine whenever the user call the return function, right? So I think we can implement this thing like so this local is equals to a m.async function with a path argument like so. Not sure. Let's try that thing. Wow, it's still working. What do you guys think? I think it's much better to use the callback things. So instead of callback function, we will use the async equivalent, right? So there you go. Let's do that here. And we don't need this read function here. There you go. We can return that. So this module is ready to use. Async await functions are implemented. Okay. Now we can convert all of the functions contained in the fs.lua to async equivalent, right? So first thing first, this thing. Hmm. So let's try to do this thing, right? So let's try to implement every single of them one by one. So let's remove all the things that we have created, right? All right, so the function, um, and let's just make a touch function first. Async dot async. We can say this is a module. So a dot async, and let's provide an asynchronous function which needs a path, right? Hmm. All right then. So like so, and what do we have to do to create a file? Nothing, just simply await things like uv.fs open with the path and the mode, which is the append mode, 438 as the permissions, and there will be fs error and the fd, right? So what are we going to do is we need a stat also. Await uv.fs stat, and let's provide the path, right? So now if not stat, then return, right? So we have to return. Hmm. All right. I think instead of creating those functions like, okay, let me just give it a try. Then we will uh, refactor those code according to our needs. Let's just first try to create the touch function, right? So this is an FD. So if not FD, then return. Otherwise, we will. Let's just go back a little. I want to see how I implemented the touch function previously. So if not FD, okay. There is a problem here. Ah, okay. Don't worry, we will fix that thing here. So if not FT, we return. Otherwise, we have to close the FT. So fs close. So we have to close, and we will provide the FT here. And I think this also has an asynchronous version. So local, um, what it will contain an error and a success. Okay, got it. Local success is equals to a dot await the UVFS close, and we will provide the FD here. And if not success, then return. Either way, we have to return, right? Close or not, we have to return. So let's discard all the values, right? Okay, there we go. Let's see if that function works or not. So currently, let's create an ex.lua file, right? Let's try to make one. So let's open the neovim and require this module. Require fs.lib.fs dot any chat, nothing. So touch. Let's make an ex.lua, right? This should work. Do we have anything? I don't think so. Hmm. Oh, wait a minute. It's a stat, not stats. So let's try one more time. There we go. Let's open it up. Okay, we have ex.lua. So this thing is working actually. The another thing is that we have to try is to try this touch function in an async await syntax, right? Because we need a feedback, right? So how are we gonna achieve that thing? We have to remove this return value and we can do something like local test is equals to a.async function like so. And can we await the touch function actually? So let's print done here, right? And instead of doing that, I want to do something like local function test, right? And m.touch fx.lua, right? And print hello, right? So let's do this thing. Oh, A is a undefined value, right? So I'm gonna execute the whole file. Unable to resume the coroutine. Yeah, because there is no coroutine running at that moment. Unable to resume the coroutine. Wait just a minute. Unable to resume the coroutine? What? Is this file updated or not? Oh, geez. This thing sucks. Let's just copy this thing over, paste it over here. All right. And dot async. UV is equals to vim.uv or vim.loop, right? Another thing is a, so like that. Let's execute the whole file and let's see if that works or not. I don't think so. There's no fx.lua actually here. So I don't think that is working. Oh, because we didn't call the test function. So let's clear out all the messages and execute that file. So first is hello, then is done. Man, I that means I have to implement all the fs function with the having callback associated with those functions, right? to make it work properly. Okay, got it. Got it, got it, got it. There you go. So now what we have to do is just we don't need that async function here, right? We can just simply do local, I mean, function m.touch with a path and a callback function, right? Callback, right? There we go. And if there is any error, so we have to supply those things. But for now, I'm gonna just return the Boolean value. So Boolean is just simply represent the success value, right? If you are successful on creating the file or not. That's it. So there we go. So the same thing we have to do here. Callback. False as well. And what this function returns actually, uv.fs close some number, and okay, this returns okay, so this functions return a error and a success. I think we can use that syntax. I mean, we can use the responded value in all of our fs function. So what we're gonna do is we have to provide the error state, right? So error, I mean stat error, right? So let's pass the stat error here like that. And the same thing here, open error. Uh, Open error like that. And here we just have to return the whole thing, the callback, like like so. So this thing is, I think this thing will work perfectly. I think so. Hmm. Hmm. Can we do something like m.touch is equals to a.async function argument as path and the callback like so, right? So next thing we have to do is test thing out, right? So let's go to Scratch and do async here. Let's do that. fs is equals to require any chat. Harsh, welcome to the live stream. Sorry if I noticed you a little late. I'm just so focused on creating this module, actually. So filer.lib.fs. So fs, there is one more thing. We have to import the require filer async, right? Are you still there? Anyways, so a local function create file path, right? So Yeah, I'm watching. I have one thing I want to ask, just getting info about it. Okay, go ahead. So, okay, a dot await. So let's await this fs function. So fs dot, await fs dot. What do we have in the fs? Okay, wait a minute. Fs dot lua. Let's return those values actually. Okay, so I think the LSP will work fine. Okay, so touch like that. And let's provide the path here. And let's see what we get in the response. Vim.print. There you go. Create file, and file path is just fx.co, right? Just an example file to create, nothing fancy. So let's execute that thing. Oh, got some problem. F is a Boolean value. What? No, that can't be true. Okay, let's do that. Let's try that thing again. And we got nil and false. Okay, this thing is working fine. I think the file is created, fx.lua. Okay, perfect. This thing is working. I'm also using neovim with neotree to navigate files, but I want something which will cycle between recently opened buffers. Recently opened buffers. But I think this functionality is already built into telescope.nvim, in my opinion. I don't know what is the purpose of implementing the same thing in a file tree. Not sure. Reader, open buffers. Yeah, yeah, Anirudh. Same thing. I mean, Telescope has much better support for recently open buffers. Like fuzzy finding is so good in Telescope. I don't think we have to implement the same thing all over in a file tree, because file trees just, I think, only be responsible for manipulating the file system. Searching and maintaining the records, I think, should be done by the fuzzy finder. Anyways, let's moving forward. So let's just delete those files actually. To be honest, at this moment, these old file managers literally um, literally sucks. Actually, especially this snack pickers. This snack pickers literally, I mean, I look and go through the whole code base of snack pickers for the Explorer, and what I found out that Folky uses a simple vim.fn delete function, which is a synchronous function, and literally provide a really bad user experience. For normal purposes, it won't affect anything. But if you have a very nested and heavy content loaded directory and you want to delete with those directories with this Explorer, Snacks Explorer, then you will get in the trouble because your new Vim will get freezed up and nothing will work at that moment. Yes, Telescope does do this, but I have to type file name. Yeah, makes sense. But actually, there are so many workaround for that if you want to cycle through your buffers. Actually, but don't worry. If you ever need this kind of functionality in your file manager, just open an issue so that I mean, there are so many things going through in my mind at this moment, so I might be forget about this feature. So just open an issue and I'm trying to implement that thing. Right. This is the best thing I can do. Thing is, I'm just lazy. Only reason to use neovim. Yeah, true. But don't worry, leave it to me. Just if you have time, just open the issue because currently I'm working on asynchronous file system operation uh, for this file manager. Um, so this thing working fine actually. So we can just implement other functions as well. What I'm thinking at this moment actually, uh, I have already implemented some functions, right? So why don't we just convert all those functions into the asynchronous one that we just implemented, right? So let's go back a little. I mean, why waste so much time to implement re-implement those functions? Because I wasted so much time on implemented those synchronous function. So it's better to convert those function into asynchronous one instead of rewriting everything, right? So this is the touch function, or like a dot async, right? But we have to do a here, right? And wait just a minute. Oh, wait, async, right? Hmm. So this is just the callback. Um, async dot async, right? And this is the function, right? We just have to close this thing. So async dot await, like that. So touch function is ready to use, but there is a syntax we have to follow. Like this should be callback. RCB. Let's just leave it CB. Easier to write. So next thing is just to provide the error state. Um, stat error, stat error, like that. So this is a success and error is just a string, right? Something like that. Open, or you can say FD error, FD error. And CB async dot await uv dot fs close, and let's provide the FD, and the rest of the things are handled automatically. So by the way, guys, how are you doing? I mean, is everything okay in your life? Just taking a 2-minute break. I mean, yeah. So don't ask, life sucks. Is it is that bad? Anyways, okay. Just forget about it, what I asked. Let's moving forward. Anyways, so this is the touch function. Let's create the RM function. So function async function, right? Like so, and there we go. Async.await, async.await, right? And the last thing is to provide a error state, right? The error, stat error, stat error, and the next thing is here, which is the link error, or unlink error, right? And the next thing is the nil, because there's a possibility that error error could be nil, because on success there's no error at all. So I think remove function is also working. There's only one way to find out. Let's test this thing real quick. Okay, so this is the create file, right? So let's create another function, which is delete file, right? Delete file. So which takes a path and rm, and that should do it, right? So do we have any fx function? Oh, okay. No fx file actually. So let's execute that thing. And you can see there is a fx.lua file. And now I just want to comment this thing and delete file with the fx.lua. Let's see if it can delete the file. So clearing the message and execute that thing. Okay, I think it's working. And you can see fx.lua is no longer available. So both the functions are working. Okay. The next thing is to remove recursive. Remove recursing, we will take care of this later, but first thing first, let's just do the asynchronous make dir function. Make dir, make dir, whatever. So error is an optional string, like so. And so, is equals to async, something like that. And let's cover it up with then closing parenthesis, remove this async thing, and async dot await. Actually, to be honest, I think I should import only the functions. So like async, and there is an await, right? So async dot async, right? So that should do it. What async dot. There you go. Await. Hi Zainab, I'm glad you're back. We're just about to finish this thing off. Just um, converting those synchronous function into the async one. So this is the stat error, stat error, like that, right? Okay. So this is make their error, make their thing, and what is this thing actually? Okay, this will be nil. So successfully converted. Now the next thing is the make dir with the p flag. Okay, let's do that thing quickly. Right, so and this thing is a asynchronous function like that, and there you go. And here's a nil value. And what is this thing actually? So okay, it is the stat thing. So stat error, like so. And what is the next thing? Oh, let's remove this thing. And okay, I think it's done. So this is the remove dir function. Let's remove this thing. Let's do that. Error. There you go. Async function. Remove this thing. Stat error. Stat error. Like that. And this is the remove dir error. And dir. Right. And here's the error is in a nil value, right? So this thing also done. Now is the create function. Basically, create function is a combination of various fs function. Basically, you just provide a path to create function, and it will take care all of the things by just providing that path. For an example, if you provide a path like home dot some user directory and some foo bar dot lua, something like that, and for suppose that foo directory is not there, so this function will automatically detect that this directory is not in the path. So first, what it will do, it will create all non-existing intermediate directories, and then it will create the last content like this. So if the path is ended with a slash, then this bar.lua is no longer a file, it's a directory. So it will take care of this thing also. This is a combination of so many fs function actually. By the way, let's continue moving forward. This is just to give a quick info what this function actually doing here. If you have any questions, then you can ask. Feel free to ask them. So, okay. Hmm. Hmm. Error. Make your error like that and get error. Perfect. So let's do mkdir success, something like that. Touch success. Um, touch error, touch error, like that. And there is no error, so there we go. I think this thing will work fine. So we will implement the delete function later, but let's just test thing out if this thing is working or not. All right. So shall we continue? Okay, then. Hmm. Let's read that. Create item. And instead of touch, we use the create function. And let's do create item. Something like example test.lua, right? So let's see if that works or not. Let's reopen that, run this file, test.lua. No such file or directory. Why? Where this error comes from? Hmm, this this error could be from the touch function, I guess. Not sure, but I think. What? Fine. So create async. No such file or directory. I'm kind of confused. Let's print out the mkdir error and mkdir success, right? And also debug. Let's add a debug flag also. Um, there you go. What? Wait just a minute. let's try this thing and debug nil a true value. So this thing is working fine accordingly. Hmm. So what we are providing here. So let's go to meter P here and here, right? Let's see what is the path value that we are providing here. Um, this is debug 2. Um, the debug 2, oh, debug 2 just, uh, but there is no example folder actually. Hmm. So why it is unable to, create the example thing, right? So let's see. Print debug 3 and stat error and vim dot inspect stat, right? Let's try to do that. So debug 3, what? No such file or directory example. Okay, got it, got it, got it. I think I messed up a little. If I do a sudo ls here, is there any example file? I mean, example folder? I guess not. So I think I have to provide a proper path, right? So let's do that thing right now. So home, workspace, development, filer, right? So this should work, right? Let's reload and execute the file. And I think it has worked this time. So you can see here's an example folder, right? But wait a minute. This folder is empty. Test.lua is not there. Why? So debug 3, no such file or directory example. Why is this thing happen? Hmm. Why does this thing keep happening? So debug 3. It's an error string and a stat value, right? So it should work, I guess, but it's not currently. Okay, wait just a minute. No, 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 no. Stat error. Why does this thing keep happening? Let's delete that folder and let's try to Do that again. Okay, wait just a minute. I don't want to print the stats. Okay, let's delete this thing and let's read out those things, right? So debug 3 don't get any error. The first thing it will check for home directory, then this user directory, then workspace, development, and filer. So all 5 of them are already present. So that's why there is no error here, right? But when, okay, so, but when it moves on to the example folder, you can see there is no such folder exist here. That's why it creates that folder, right? So here it creates a folder uh, with the name of example inside filer.nvim folder, right? And if it's not success, then we return the stat error. Actually, it shouldn't be a stat error. What I'm doing actually. So it should be a mkdir success. How about that? No, it's not success, it's an error, right? And this should be mkdir success, right? Mk error. This is a silly mistake. Anyways, so let's delete that example folder. Delete. Let's try to create one more time, and I think this time it works. So here we have example folder, and inside the example we have a test.lua directory. I mean test.lua of a newly created file with the parent directory called example. So there we go. We successfully managed to create the create function. So did you guys enjoying this stream so far? I mean, it's kind of boring thing, maybe, but it's nothing I can do to make this more enjoyable. You know, coding sometimes feel kind of boring. Anyways, okay, so create function is working perfectly. So there is only one thing that I have to do. I have to make a read function, right? So I want a read function. Not exactly a read function, it's a read directory function, which lists all the content of a directory, right? So how are we going to implement that ls function actually? So we already have an ls function, I guess. Wait, do we have it? Yes. So there's an ls function, but we have to make it asynchronous. And actually, I don't want to use fs_scan_dir function because it has some limitations, because if the directory contain some thousand of files or maybe 10,000s of files, then uh, reading this much of a big directory uh, could cause some issues. I mean, this function cannot handle those big directories. So what do we have to do? We have to use a different function, which is a read dir function. And what's special about that function is that function takes an argument of the number of content that it will read in batches. So if I provide 100 as a parameter, then that function reads 100 contents, first 100 contents of that directory. And if we uh, keep doing that over and over and over, then by that way we can read whole the directory, but in chunks. So reading the directory in smaller chunks is much easier than reading it like all 10,000 files, or maybe some folder contain much uh, much greater number of files. Do you know private software? I pirate software. Okay, pirate software. Yes. When I was using Windows, I used so many of them, like Premiere Pro, and there was a time that I was using pirate window as well. It's pretty common. So ls, let's just keep that thing in mind. Like we have a format. Well, this format is already uploaded in the GitHub. So let's create that ls function from scratch, right? Because we have to change so many things in it. So this is the ls function, an async function. So what do we have to do? We have to provide the path, and there's a callback, of course. Same thing. Let's copy that thing here. So first we have to check the path is exist or not, right? So stat error and stat is equals to await uv.fs stat with the path, right? And what we will do next is if not stat, that means if the current provided path does not exist, or it is not a valid path, then we will return with the error, right? So the error is just a state error, and we will provide a false value as a success, right? Then the next thing we have to do, um, that function is, I think, fs open dir function, right? Which will return a directory. More formally, it will return an fd file system type. So let me just read fs open dir function. So it contains a callback. Hmm. Now there is a problem. There is a problem actually. The asynchronous thing, you know, I think we have to make it a synchronous call, because this format is weird. It is literally weird. Because according to our asynchronous module, the callback function should be the last argument, right? But this open dir function, wait just a minute. This open dir function takes entries as the last argument. Oh man. So let's make this call a synchronous one, which is not a big deal, I guess. It's a very a simple call to just open the directory. Nothing much fancier, right? We are not reading that thing. So, anyways, so what we have to do is dir is equals to uv.fs open dir, right? With the current path, and this thing is a directory. It could be nil, so let's do this thing, call back. So error, we have to write down the error. Unable to open directory, right? And false, something like that. And the next thing is, now we can use a while loop to list down the contents, right? Wait just a minute. Can we provide, you know, okay, let's just make this thing asynchronous as well, using the callback functions. So open dir, this is the path, and let's provide a callback function which gives us the error and a dir value, right? So for the batch, I'm gonna use 1000 per batch, right? So 1000 files, I mean 1000 items per read operation, right? So it's an error, right? It's an open dir error, right? Open dir error, right? So next thing is we can't await that thing, right? We can't await that thing. This thing sucks. Mm, can I do something like, dir is equals to uv.fs open dir with a path nil and the 100 batches, something like that, right? What is that? Cannot assign nil to parameter this thing. Let's try that thing. vim.uv.fs open dir with a path like home, the user directory, and provide a nil value with the 100 items per batch. Okay, we got it. We got it. So I think we have to suppress the thing for this line only. So this error will get suppressed. Ah, wrong one. So for the current line, mismatch parent parameter type. Okay, perfect. So what's the next thing? The next thing is to await the read functions, right? So let's do a while loop. While loop, right? Hmm. Do we have any do while loop? Okay, we have a do. Wait just a minute. What is do and block in Lua? Why use a do? The do and block have to do with the problems of variable scoping. Essentially, when you use an identifier, what value does it have? For example, what numbers will be printed when we write the following program? So x is equals to 10, and when it comes to local variables, Lua does stand. This is not the thing that I want. I want a do while loop. Do while loop in Lua. I never use that thing. Actually, I think Gemini has some suggestions. What? I literally don't want to use that syntax because this is literally trash thing. I mean, just look at that. You know, I mean, I is greater than. You have to provide a, completely opposite statement for stopping the loop, right? And this thing sucks. I is greater than 5. Okay, fine. So what I'm gonna do is entries. Um, items. Items will be something like this, and look, still and entries like so, right? Repeat until. So repeat until what? Entries equal nil. So until entry equal nil, right? Got it. So what are we gonna do is entries equal await uv.fs read dir function. So we will provide a dir, and there will be a callback thing, right? So dir, and the callback will return an error string and the entries, right? Okay, so got it. So I think we can achieve this behavior in while loop also. I mean, while true, right? If entries, I mean, if not entries, then simply return the callback. Um, like so. And the next thing we have to do is so we are returning from this function if we can't read the next batch of the directory, right? And after that, we will return all the values. So there is no error. And what we will return, it is not a success. It will contain some values actually. So the items. So items, it's a table. Perfect. There you go. Um, there. Unreachable code. This code is not unreachable actually. Let's find out. So, ls items, right? Ls items, something like that. Okay. So in the filer nvim directory, we have to list all the contents, right? So ls, so we have path, vim dot, wait just a minute. So this will print all the things, right? So let's do and try to run it. So we get an empty string. Why? I don't know. Oh, got it. Because we have to insert items unpack entries. Table vim dot list merge or list extend. So the list extend is list which will be modified and appended. So the thing is item, the source, list from which values will be insert. Okay, so the values are from entries, and these things are nothing, right? And what it will return actually. Okay, so items, right? Let's try that one more time. And we're still having those things. Let's try to debug the entries. Okay, we are getting some things. But unfortunately, the list is not extended. Uh, Done. Oh, so this is an unreachable code for some reason. All right. Uh, things looking great, but Hmm. Why this is an unreachable code? Okay, there you go. We have it. These are all the functions, right? Print this thing. There is no debug statement. Why? I mean, there's supposed to be a debug statement here. I don't know what is happening, but for some reason, we have all the contents actually, but why we don't have this debug statement, right? Anyways, it's working. There's just one thing that I have to do. Vim.iter entries and map all the entries. Let's map each and every entry like in the format that we have already. So name is equals to entry. We have name and type, right? So name dot name, right? So type is equals to entry dot type. And what do we have previously? fs.lua. What do we have previously? Okay, path. So path is equals to m.join path from the, oh, so we have to distinguish those things. Wait just a minute. Link path and link type. Link path and link type is equals to m.link path, m.join path with the path and the name. Perfect. Actually, not name, it's entry.name. Then what's the next thing? The next thing is to just provide the whole path, which is m.join and join path entry.name, something like that. Then link path is equals to link path and link type is equals to link type. There we go. I think this should be enough. And okay, we have to convert it into a table also. I think now it's good. Let's try this thing out. Okay. So as you can see, the whole data is here. Link path, link type, name, path, and the type as well. There you go. Okay, so let's change the directory. Wait just a minute. Like so. Let's clear out the messages and let's see if we have any links here. So type is equals to a link, right? Yeah, so we have a type link. Perfect. So this should work fine. So I think that's it for this stream, guys. We successfully convert most of the functions into asynchronous version, right? What is this thing? Stat error. We don't need that. So we convert most of the functions and we will continue converting those functions in the tomorrow live stream because there are quite a more functions which we have to handle. But for this stream, it's over. So thank you guys for joining the live stream. It means a lot. I think it's time to wrap up the stream. So if you have any question, then ask. Otherwise, I'm gonna end the stream. Okay, I think no questions. Then thank you guys. Good night. Bye bye.